We know you, they know me. Extrasensory synchronicity. A starfall, a phone call. It joins all synchronicity. What is up, and welcome back. It's good to see you guys. It is good to see by you guys. How are you doing this evening? I, of course, am your one and only Dungeon Delver, the host, and I hope you're having a positively, absolutely fantastic evening this evening. I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. I could complain, but who would listen? Surely not you guys. But anyhow, yeah. Things are going just swimmingly. And as it is Monday, of course, a new little featurette that I've decided to add, a value add, if you will, a little bang for your buck. Whatever you're spending, you're getting a little bit extra. It's a multiplier. It is a multiplier, is what it is. But anyway, so let's take a look at the miniature scene and see what's happening over there real quick. So let's pull that camera up, and oh, would you look at that? We've got a fighter with mace yonder. We've got a cleric of Isis, very nice, and a couple of gnomes. They're in a dungeon hallway, standing before some sort of devil face that's green, and it's got a dead black opening in the mouth. I wonder what it could be. I wonder exactly what all you might be seeing in this scene over here. So just let that soak in for just a few seconds and enjoy. But let me get back over here to the studio view. And Robert asks, how's the heat down here? We were blessed with some rain today. Let me tell you what, the priestess of Isis, her prayers did not go unheard. And it was a good rain that lasted through most of the day. See, rain in Florida, anywhere in the South where it's humid, it can be a blessing or a curse. If it comes and it lasts 30 minutes on a summer's day and then it goes, you're dead where you stand, pilgrim. The temperature is going to be, it's going to be crazy hot, is what I'm saying. It's going to be like walking out of your house into a bowl of syrup that's been microwaved for 10 minutes, okay? It's not going to be pleasant out there. You're not going to have a good time. But if you get an all-day rain, a good soak, heavy cloud cover, blocks out the sun, you get down to the mid-upper 80s, you get a little bit of a breeze, and it almost constitutes tolerable. And that's what we've had today. Like, my air conditioner hasn't just like run nonstop. It's actually gotten down into the 70s in the house, and I'm very happy about that. So it's pretty awesome. And speaking of pretty awesome, Dungeon Minister, good to see you. James Keck, it's funny you should show up, of all people. You've got a lot of nerve showing up. So that's what's going on the weather front. Now, it is Monday, and Monday just doesn't mean miniature fun. The M isn't just for miniatures. No, it's not. The M also stands for mail call. That's right. We got something fun in the mail today, and I don't just mean another liter of resin, although that did arrive today. we got something fun in the mail today, and I'm really happy about it. So let's take a crack at it. Now, I already did open the package. I have to do that. And it's Jack Photon's fault, because he sent me like 500 things in the mail once. I was like, I'll open this on the air. It'll be fun. And it ended up being like 45 minutes of just that box. So you guys remember it. Not that I mind spending time on cool things that you guys send me, but I was not expecting. I wanted to be prepared to show proper appreciation. So let me then show you what I appreciate, courtesy of James F. Keck. It's just what I always wanted. It's a box. But in this box, this actually comes from Lulu. Those evil metric liters of resin. Yes. 2 pints. I've got 2 pints of resin. That's one place where the communist measurement system serves me, is working in that. We have Simple Sixes Revised, a basic 2d6 role-playing mechanic from James F. Keck. We have that one. So this is James's 2d6 role-play system, multi-genre. So we got some sci-fi, we got some superheroes, we got some fantasy going on there. This is a nice durable book. This is printed by Lulu. Now, I know Lulu's printing can be like, I ordered this from Lulu just last Tuesday, and it's Monday morning, and it's here. That's awesome. And then there's, I ordered this from Lulu a month ago, 6 weeks ago. Why isn't it here yet? And Blazing Sixes, a Wild West role-playing game powered by Simple Sixes. So here's your rule book. Here's the Blazing Sixes rule book. So if you have a hankering for a lightweight, fun role-playing game, James has been on the show. He's talked about this before, and I am really excited to have this. Getting new RPGs that appeal to me is a rare thing anymore. It's either an old RPG that I knew about and I loved and I've gone back to, or it's a new copy, like a new print, but a new RPG, like new RPG that really grabs a hold of me is such a rare thing. And James has talked about his systems when he was a guest on the show. So I have these now, and I cannot wait to take these for a test drive. Blazing Sixes and Simple Sixes both. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, James. That is very, very awesome, and I look forward to playing those. I'm going to set them over here on the shelf, and I'll find a better home for them than just stacked on with some other stuff. And of course, they'll be read. By the way, I love the format. I like digest size. This will go right into a cargo pocket on your cargo shorts if you're Dorcas Nerdicus. You have these built right in. There's some nice looking artwork in here. A monster section. I love that. Oh, we got a Halo like Space Marine. This just I'm so looking forward to diving into this. Again, thank you very much for that, James. And who knows? Maybe one day, I'll do a deep dive. We'll create a character. We'll take a look at the rule system. We'll see. I'm just kidding. We're definitely going to do that. So I was talking about needing liters of resin. I have been on a printing crusade, although really it's less of a crusade and more of a bounty hunt, because the project that I've been working on. Let me just show you. This is what I started with. These are Gothic church windows. These are 1 inch wide and 3 inches tall. And what you cannot see on the camera very well, unfortunately, is that they're actually translucent. When these are covered with ink, these will become stained glass windows through which light will actually go. And the person who's getting these, and I could tell you what the project is, but then I'd have to kill you, is very excited about those. So I printed up a bunch of these and everything went fine. I have spent the last month trying to get orientation for these 5-inch tall, half-inch diameter round pillars. At first I thought, okay, well, I will print them quickly. I will simply lay them down flat and then just support the hell out of them and just print them quickly. Didn't work. Ripped right off the supports. And then I said, okay, well, let's just try and print them vertically. And I started because, if you've just got a single uniform object and your cross section is small, you're just printing. Nope. Failed print. I finally found a good print orientation, and it was a 30-degree cant and then a forest of supports holding it on. So I got those done, and I printed up 35 of those at six a shot. And they took about 8 hours to print each. Yeah. Pretty intense. So, hello, Lightmane. Good to see you. Namaste, my friend. Connect, greetings. But once I had that going, man, it was just like, it's just flying along, printing those out. Print 6, rip them off the printer. And once I got a hang of it and I knew where to put the spatula to slice the prints off, I wasn't even taking the build plate off of the arm, the Z-axis. I was just going through, sliding them off into my gloved hand, dumping them into a tray to clean them up, get them ready for rinsing and curing. So I knocked those out in a couple of days. Then I looked at the spec for the next print. Oh, thank you, Vaughn. Thank you very much. Thank you for the super. I appreciate that. Who will match Vaughn? Who will dare to match Vaughn? Which one of you has pockets deep enough to match Vaughn? But anyway, so I go and I look at the next set of pillars he wants. Fortunately, he only needs 6 of the next set of pillars. Because when I show this to you guys, you're gonna. So it is in a sandwich bag on purpose. This is the pill. As the Ziploc moves in the way. That is it. This is an inch and a half at the base. It is 5 inches tall, and this has to weigh 5 or 6 grams. It's in a sandwich bag for a reason, and that is that recently cured resin pieces tend to get very fumy. They tend to be pretty odoriferous. So I have this in a sandwich bag because I wanted to show my wife. And this represents about 138 grams or milligrams. Okay, it's about with the supports. This is about 1/6 of a bottle of resin. I can get 6 of these out of a $30 bottle of resin. So. And I can get 3 of these on the build plate. This is the test. This is the test one that I printed up, and it printed perfectly, so it's going to be one of the 6. So basically, I have 3 to print, and then I have 2 to print, and this is 9 hours to print. So, and listen to that. This is a monster of a pillar. This thing is chonky. If he puts this in his dungeon and it falls over on a miniature, it's going to destroy it if it's metal. It's going to bend it. Can I print the dungeon minister? Okay, so here's the thing. Yes. I mean, obviously, I can't print a living dungeon minister, although the resin is it is organic. Now, organic compounds, most people think like, oh, organic means alive. It doesn't. I mean, formaldehyde is an organic compound. Ammonia is an organic compound. And I think, like, what was it, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when that flat surfboard-like asteroid thing came zipping through our solar system, Oumuamua, and scientists were all like, it's covered in organic ices. And a lot of people thought that meant that, like, it had living stuff growing on it. Organic just refers to a family of compounds. It's not metals, basically, is what I'm saying. But so there's this cool thing. Photogrammetry is a thing where you can take a telephone that has a mobile phone, not a telephone, like your handset. You know, you just go pick up your dad's 1960s Rockford Files Bell dial phone. It's not going to work. With a mobile phone on continual shot or a DSLR on continual shot, you can walk around a three-dimensional object and shoot it from every angle. And there are free plugins for the free 3D program called Blender that will look at all of your photos and arrange them into a 3D model that, yes, you can print. So if Dungeon Minister was in front of me, I could grab the camera that I'm streaming to you guys with, flip it over. Take care, old Grogner. Flip it over to continuous shot mode and just walk all around him and just make sure that I got every angle and have them saved as JPEGs or PNGs or whatever. And then dump that file folder into Blender, and Blender will say, all right, let's do it. And it'll build a 3D model of him. Now, I'd still have to clean up because obviously the camera is also taking a picture of things in the background. But the fuzzy logic, I hesitate to call it AI. The fuzzy logic in Blender will get a lot of that stuff out. It's nuts. It is absolutely nuts. So yes, if I did that, if I wanted to, I could use photogrammetry to 3D print the Dungeon Minister. How about it, Dungeon Minister? You want to have somebody send me, like through Google Drive, or just mail it to me on a flash drive, just like a 360-degree, all angles, continuous shot, and I'll print you up. But anyway, so I hope that answers that question. And you can do it with anything. You could do it with me. You could do it with this microphone. You could do it with the crab. You could do it with this tripod. It comes down to patience on your part, being patient and taking the time to go through and edit out, like, let's say, you mount the crab on a stick. Well, you got to go through and you got to erase the stick, and if it's picked up any pieces of the background, you got to erase that, and so on, etc. Pansuza, greetings. The bust of the Saint Beckme? Yeah, absolutely. Photogrammetry. Yeah. You could absolutely do it with Saint Beckme. There is a guy who does 3D printing, and I can't remember his name right now. He's got a YouTube channel, but if you look up photogrammetry, and Photogrammetry, Philip Seymour Hoffman. That's not the person who did it, and I know that Philip Seymour Hoffman passed away. There's a statue of Philip Seymour Hoffman and it's ground level. There's no fence around it or anything. He did the DSLR trick and has printed statuettes of Philip Seymour Hoffman just to show off the thing. Graph paper. I hope you feel better. The wife, Mrs. the Dungeon Delver, has a upper respiratory infections apparently going around Florida. I hope I don't get it. I have been. I basically kept her back in the bedroom, and I've been sleeping out in the Florida room where I was when I had human malware back after GaryCon. And speaking of GaryCon, that brings us neatly. You see how I did that? We call that a transition. We call that a segue. Speaking of GaryCon, if you were considering going to GaryCon and you're one of those, I'll just have my eggs Benedict brought up to me and stroll out in my robe down out of my room and see what the plebs are doing, your opportunity's gone. You're going to be staying at the Motel 6 in Delavan is essentially what's going on. Yes, all Grand Geneva rooms are sold out. So let's take a quick look at this. This constitutes some RPG news, by the way. So I pulled up. Now this is any room. I pulled up a what kind of room is this? Or is it on this screen? It's not. But yeah, any room. March 2024, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd is not happening. You ain't. So if you're going to go to GaryCon, and people have asked me, oh, Bill, are you going to GaryCon? Guys, I mean, it's, how things are. So that's the, that's my answer. I mean, gosh, wouldn't it be nice? But yeah, so if you're going to GaryCon and you had big dreams about, in October, I got 3 paychecks and I'm going to go to GaryCon and I'm going to stay at the Grand Geneva and I'm just going to walk out of my hotel room and walk down to the gate. No, you're not. Those opportunities have left the building. Now, there are inevitably cancellations. All right. I'm not affiliated with GaryCon. I mean, I know Heidi Gygax and Eric Garland, but I mean, they who says you couldn't drive? That's the spirit, Lux. That's how you do it. Just motor down there, hop out, hand your keys to the valet, and go in. And I have to say, if you do that, the valet parking is awesome. Although, I mean, if you're going the full bug, like if this is not like a deal breaker for you, if this is not like, okay, I can go to the con. I figured out there. If we go to the Walmart, we buy these microwave dishes, assuming prices stay the same. And I allow myself $50 to spend on the dealer's floor. I get it. I feel you. Okay. I completely understand. But if you go and you have some financial flexibility, wherever you're at, if you're in Lake Geneva, just Uber, just get Uber or Lyft, because Lake Geneva it's not a big town. It's going to cost you $20. And it's going to save you a lot of legwork and a lot of heartache. And plus, it helps out some gig economy folks, right? So there you go. That's it. Connect says, I'm hoping to meet Luke Gygax next year. Good luck, because that's going to be hey, Luca. That's going to be like your meeting Luke Gygax. And I don't say that as a slam to Luke or to mock you. When I was at GaryCon, that was my interaction with Luke back in March, right? Because the dude is busy. He has panels, he has games, he has interviews, he has issues. The dude is busy. So just be aware. Sean Hall, good to see you. How are you? But if he's got 5 minutes and can say hello, yeah, stop by and say hi. So Bob says it's a bath. It depends on if it's a bathrobe or a wizard's robe. Why not both? Why not both? I had, what if your Uber is the troll? I gotta tell you something. We had fantastic Uber drivers in Lake Geneva. They were all awesome, and they were all very appreciative of the fact that my wife and I did not want to drive through a foot of snow. Like Wednesday and Thursday. Well, Wednesday, what was it? Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, like up to Friday afternoon, it was just like, whatever, you know. Oh, look, there's snow piled up against the side of that house, but streets are streets. And then Friday night, of course, into Saturday and Sunday. And fortunately, things let up when we left, when we drove out of Lake Geneva back to Milwaukee. But yeah, it was, we were not going to drive Saturday or Sunday morning. So definitely appreciate it. But anyway, yes, take your time. And if you're gonna go, there's lots of nice hotels in Lake Geneva. I know you might think, oh, but I want to be in the Cove. Nowhere in Lake Geneva, I'm serious. Nowhere in Lake Geneva is more than a few minutes from the Cove. Not the Cove, I'm sorry. My brain leaping back to Lake Geneva Gaming Conventions. The Grand Geneva. Yeah, you're literally on top of it wherever you're at in Lake Geneva. Speaking of conventions, of course, a few weeks ago was say it, come on. Is anybody going to say it? No. Well, a few weeks ago was Gen Con. And in case you're not keeping up on current events, it seems that at Gen Con, there was a heist. That's right. There was an actual heist at Gen Con. I don't mean a module. I don't mean that, dungeon heist thing, adventure module. I mean, legitimately, stuff was stolen, and I'm not talking about somebody laid down a copy of an autographed book and it got boosted. $300,000 in Magic cards, Magic the Gathering cards, were stolen from a vendor. Now, not stolen from Wizards of the Coast. And I wanna go forward here. I want to be 100% upfront with what I'm saying and what I want you guys to understand. I'm as mad as hell at Wizards of the Coast for the way they are. I think what they did to get the Magic the Gathering cards that were legitimately bought by a dude, sending the Pinkertons to his house, terrorizing this guy. It's awful. They're awful in every way. But here's a couple of things. One, this stuff was stolen. It was stolen. Nobody deserves to have their property stolen. The law is the law. You might consider it karmic comeuppance, and I certainly do. But if somebody I know went to Gen Con and said, I'm fitting to steal a bunch of stuff from Wizards of the Coast when their back is turned, I would yell at them not to. I would absolutely, I don't support it. I don't endorse it. But more importantly, people who are cheering this on, like, well, Wizards, how do you like it? This had nothing to do with Wizards of the Coast beyond it being Magic the Gathering cards. This was stolen from a vendor. This is a small business that just lost $250,000 in property. All right. I know it's Magic the Gathering cards. I know we're not all big, huge Magic fans. I know Wizards getting any kind of mud thrown on them, even if it's splashed because somebody else got pushed down in a mud puddle, is funny. But I mean, imagine like during the bad old days of edition wars when you had the 4 vendors screaming at everybody who didn't want to play 4E D&D, cheering on a comic store or a game store that had a massive lot of OD&D and AD&D first edition books and modules and supplements and old Dragon magazines, $300,000 worth of that getting stolen. That's not where we're at here. This is someone's livelihood. Well, Dungeon Minister, I love it. Stealing WotC products will lead to punishment. Specifically, you will then have a bunch of WotC products. But so it was a small vendor, but here's the latest twist. And we're going to bring this up now. Let's take a look at this. Persons of interest in Gen Con card theft are card game designers. The police in Indianapolis have 2 suspects that, excuse me. Right now, if Ty Beard's watching this, if my buddy Eric is watching this, the attorney here in Central Florida, they are probably like screaming and yelling at the screen, stop saying suspects. Don't. They have persons of interest. And again, another disclaimer. I don't know if this guy, we say, the suspects right up to the point where somebody is convicted because we have due process in this country, right? So here's these 2 guys, and the person of interest says 2 co-designers of Castle Assault are considered persons of interest in the theft, according to the police. And this is our Gizmodo, not one of my favorite sites. It's part of the old Gawker sphere, but you know what? Here's the link. If you guys want to go read it or read along with it or whatever, you can do that, and then we'll check this out. Oh, you're right, Kennick. They probably won't help them. I'm going to move this over here because you guys won't see me move it over there, and it won't do anything. And I can put that up there so I can see you guys. So here we go. 2 co-designers of Castle Assault are considered person of interest. And by the way, I know it's kind of hard to see, but others have zoomed in enhanced and said that this guy is actually wearing a Castle Assault t-shirt. And these are Magic the Gathering boxes. This is not them pulling their own stuff into con. At Gen Con earlier this month, a pallet of Magic the Gathering cards worth $300,000 was stolen from the Magic Convention Center. Blah. The project belonged to, one more time, the product belonged to Pastimes, a gaming shop and MTG vendor. In an update from Indianapolis news station WTHR 13, police have identified 2 people of interest in the case, Thomas J. Dunbar and Andrew Pearson Guillaume. And Miss Andrew, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Dunbar and Guillaume were attending Gen Con 2023 and might have been present to support their own card game, Castle Assault. In the photos taken from security footage, such as the one that appears above, a man that the police department has identified as a person of interest, assumed to be Dunbar, can be seen wearing a dark t-shirt with what looks like Castle Assault artwork and logo type on the back. The Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department has released a series of photos to the public in an attempt to gather more information about the persons of interest. The photo above was taken by security camera on Tuesday, August 1st, 2 days before the convention opened on August 3rd, which means that the two men pictured might have been there early to work alongside vendors at the convention. Castle Assault is a 1 to 2 person card game that was published in 2015, and according to the Castle Assault Facebook page, the game has had a presence at Gen Con in 2017, 16, and 15. Castle Assault was successfully kickstarted in 2015 and seemed to have enjoyed a small amount of popularity. The game was published by Momentum Volsk, although Castle Assault appears to be the only game this publisher has produced and is not currently available for sale on that site. According to Board Game Geek, Dunbar and Guillaume have not worked on any games since. Some lovely, if generic-looking fantasy art from the Kickstarter page. Below, in another picture provided courtesy of the IMPD, Guillaume and Dunbar are shown in front of the playmat for Castle Assault. The Crosswords logo in the background is also from the game. This photo is not dated. If Dunbar and Guillaume are responsible for stealing the Magic the Gathering cards from Gen Con and Pastimes, it is a career-ending move for the two designers. If they'd ever hoped to publish a second game or even an expansion, there will be very few people left willing to work with them. So much of the board game industry lies on networking and connections, and conventions are usually places where people pitch games and make nice with production companies. Regardless of who stole the cards, if they make board games, they'll very likely never work in the industry again. And of course, this is a developing story. So, for their sakes, I hope it's not them. I hope it's not them, and I hope they were there to help set up. I really do. I like to try and think the best of people. I like to think that people are telling the truth. I like to think that people are damn good, to twist Lex Luthor's phrase. So I'm not saying, yeah, it's these two guys. Look, they caught these guys. I'm not going to say that. One, again, because we have a presumed assumption of innocence in this country. I was not there. I do not know the facts. What we see is them hauling a cart. We see them hauling a cart, and the police want to talk to them. Maybe they were there setting up their own stuff. Now, I think it would be on the face of it the most monumentally stupid thing in the world to drag a bright orange truck through an open convention space wearing your own company's merch and attempting to walk out with Magic the Gathering cards. So it may be that they just want to talk to these guys. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I don't know what's happening yet. And anybody who's got, any skin in this game, if you hear anything about it, let me know. Let me know. And I will get the word out there. You know what, Jack? If this had been taken from Magic's, I would not doubt for a second that there would be black vans and tinted windows sedans of Pinkertons going house to house and starting with these guys. And that dirty history and hobbies, you hit on something, you think they'd have a better understanding of the event security. That's why I'm a little sussy as to whether or not this was actually them. Now, I have kidded around before and said that the easiest way to get away with something is to act like you're supposed to be doing it. but again, and seriously, this is kind of one of those things they've got to know. Like, anybody's stuff can be valuable to anybody else. And, if you're gonna put your stuff up in a convention space, you'd want to know the workings of the security in that convention space. And for these guys to just get derped, to not have cased the layout, I'm a little suspicious here. I'm not sure that's them. I mean, because let's think about this. Let's think about this for a second. Let's say on the face of it, they can move it completely. Whoever they is, Dunbar and Guillaume, whoever. Okay, split it down the middle. That's 150 large for each of them. Okay. In this day and age, that's a couple of years, maybe, if you're in a state with really low cost of living overhead. If you're single, maybe it's 3 years. But if you got a family, it's a year and a half. And what are you going to do in the breathing room that you've got? You got to lay low. You can't show up at a gaming convention, that's for sure. So I find myself wondering if it's in fact these guys are not, because they had to have known, right? I mean, if that's them in the photo, and I'm not saying it is, they had to have known that there'd be some observation of it. Go on a Thelma and Louise adventure after. If they're innocent, if I were them, I'd press for interviews. I'd press for interviews after things died down, because any attorney is going to tell you, look, I've got 50 witnesses that place me 100 miles away the night this crime went down. All I got to do is just make a press statement telling that. Any attorney worth the salt is going to say, keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything to anyone. Do not speak. Don't make a statement. If you really want to say something, I'll prepare a statement for you and I'll release it to the press. Any attorney is going to tell you not to talk. Don't go out there and say, no, it wasn't us. It wasn't us. It wasn't us. It wasn't us. Even if it wasn't you. Because 2/3 of people are just going to say, that's just exactly what a guilty person would say. After everything blows over, if this isn't them, hell yeah. I mean, I'd have them on this show. Yeah, I mean, if that's not them, when this blows over, do a full court press. But until, you just keep your mouth shut. Jack points out they'd have to be the stupidest guys at Gen Con. The whole place is filled with security cameras. Absolutely, positively. Lux says, as stupid as it sounds, people don't commit crimes because they're smart. Absolutely. The brother of a friend of mine, we were talking with, he was a police officer. And he said, if you're going to unalive someone, most people get it in their heads that if you're going to unalive someone, that you've got like, you know, all you need is an alibi and to make sure that, you know, you get rid of the implement and this. And he said privately in law enforcement, and this was in the early 1990s, mind you, he said there's like 139 things, 139 points. And the really super duper smart criminals who commit that heinous act will cover like 10 of those. I didn't go in any more detail about it, and it could have just been a Shaggy Dog story. But I mean, you know, you're definitely Lux. You're definitely in the right neighborhood, you know. And I mean, again, that cart, that could have been their own stuff. They could have just been reusing boxes. That literally could just have been their own product. They could have been moving stuff from point A to point B and just found a shortcut to take. That could have nothing at all to do with it. Because remember, they said a pallet. They said a pallet. Now, I know 99% of you will know what this is, but if you're in that 1% who doesn't, a pallet is a what it's a 4x4 or 5x5 wooden stand. You probably are now getting a picture of what I'm talking about. Made out of wood slats, usually just scrap wood, just terrible pieces of wood cast off, nothing you'd want to try and build with. And they stack materials on it, and depending on what they've stacked on it, they usually then wrap it up in cling film. Ask the guy who used to work in a warehouse. That's not a pallet that they're moving. Which is not to say that if that's them in the photo, they couldn't have just picked stuff up. Like, it's on a pallet, let's put it on this cart, because we don't have a pallet jack. Because pallet jacks are cumbersome. They are slow. They are so slow. I mean, once you get up a head of steam going on them, you can treat them like a big scooter. You can put one foot on and then push, and then you start getting going faster and then steer them. Again, ask the guy who used to work in a warehouse. So that may not even be it. But possibly, this could be changing from persons of interest to suspects. And then what do? You know, if it is you, I mean, this is not, you know, this is not, I was at the self-checkout and I forgot that the bottle of Tabasco sauce had rolled all the way down to the front of the shopping cart. And I set a bag on top of it when I was ringing my stuff up. I'm sorry. It's, you know, $2.69. This isn't a mistake. This isn't an accident. Oh, we weren't supposed to take the Magic the Gathering cards, load them into a Hertz rental van, and drive them to a storage space and cover them up with a tarp? We weren't supposed to do that? Oh, crap. Our bad. Here, no, take them back. That's not going to happen. Yeah, and I think, Bobby, you know what I'm talking about, used to joust with forklifts. Luther's putting on the tinfoil hat. Watsy stole them, probably insured. Get rid of worthless cards, get money, increase revenue. I don't know. WotC's the type of company that would just like pulp stuff. I mean, you know what? I don't know. I want to get on that. I want to get on that same conspiracy train with you, but I mean that's a little too Alex Jones for me. Would you guys like to hear what Alex Jones has to say about the Magic the Gathering cards theft? Super chat me if you'd like to hear what Alex Jones has to say about it. 300K. It can be. 300K in cards can be a pallet, like a half stack pallet, or it can be a box like this big. But if it's unopened product, yeah, I mean, you know, you could potentially have a bunch of cards in there that are worth like 50, 60 cents a piece at most on card exchanges. Well, you guys know what to do if you want to hear Alex. Have I ever read Jim's Ward Greyhawks? Oh, Bob did it. Okay. I need to finish seriously answering Jay Raid's question here. Have I ever read Greyhawk Adventures? Parts of it, and there's some good stuff in there. I think Jim's heart was definitely in the right place with a lot of Greyhawk Adventures. I wouldn't hate to have a physical copy of Greyhawk Adventures. I don't think I do anymore. So the bits that I've read are not bad, and there is actually a tie-in for Temple of Elemental Evil in there. Or am I thinking of something different? Am I thinking of Fate of Istis? Shoot. I'll have to go back and check to see if I'm thinking of Fate of Istis or Greyhawk Adventures. But yeah, no, Greyhawk Adventures is fine. All right. So here we go. Alex Jones had this to say about the Magic the Gathering cards being stolen. Let me tell you something, people. When they go up there to Indiana, they conduct these rituals, these rites, at this ceremony called Gen Con. You know what Gen Con's all about? Gen Con, Geneva Convention, Geneva, Switzerland. That's right. The same Switzerland, Davos, Switzerland, where you got Bill Gates, George Soros meeting. That's what's going on at Gen Con. $300,000 in magical cards. Magic rituals go in there. They're coming after your children. They're coming after your children with magic rituals. But let me tell you something, folks. $300,000. You take that 3, you multiply it by 11. That's 33. That's 333. You multiply that by 2, you got 666. It's the number of the beast. I tried to warn you, and you wouldn't listen, but now I'm going to tell you. And these magical cards they've got up there at Gen Con. They moved it out of Wisconsin. The people of Wisconsin wouldn't put up with it. They drove them out. And where did they send them? They sent them into the middle of the country. Indianapolis. Where they have a race, they go around in a ring, a circle, just like the particle accelerator. The very one where they have blood magic rituals. That's right. Look it up, folks. I'm trying to warn you. You gotta listen to me. You got Pete Minnie's live over there. He's making little idols, little demon idols for him to worship. They're trying to steal your kids, folks. So there you go. That's what Alex Jones thinks about the card theft. Did I go? Oh, no. I doubt I will ever go to Gen Con. Somebody was telling me, one of my regulars on Monday night was looking at the game roster for Gen Con, and there were 0 classic. There was like 1 on grid, and understand how big that game grid is. There was one game of Hackmaster 5e, or maybe it was DCC. I don't remember, but it was all 5e and Pathfinder 2e. And people say, "Oh no, man, just go off grid and just play a game, just do whatever." I can save $5,000 and stay at home and go to my comic shop and play D&D with a bunch of randos. Ugh. I gotta watch. I got to, for comedic purposes, I should watch the bits from where he talks about colloidal silver and stuff. You know, it's colloidal platinum. Help your characters level 5 times faster. Yeah, I don't really know much of anything at all about Magic cards and values. So I've said before, like when I first started reporting when the OGL thing went down in late January, and I started reporting on it, I had a fair amount of Magic the Gathering fans who said, yeah, I'm a Magic fan, and I just heard about this, and I just, through your channel, and this is cool. Thank you. But I had a lot of them were like, I don't care about Dungeons and Dragons. I don't care about D&D. All I care about is Magic. D&D is insignificant compared to Magic the Gathering. Yada yada yada. Why haven't you realized that they've been screwing us? Magic is more important than D&D. And I'm just like, dude, this is not a Magic the Gathering channel. I'm sorry if Wizards does bad stuff to Magic the Gathering fans. I'm enraged when they did something really bad to a Magic the Gathering fan with the Pinkerton raids. But this is not a Magic the Gathering channel. So, I mean, if you tell me that a Magic card is worth 5 cents or less, I'll take your word for it. I will take your word for it. But I mean, worth it like sealed up, still shrink wrapped, still sealed in the foil packages and everything. It has an intrinsic value as retail product. And if you amortize it out over every card in there, you might, okay, so this box is worth $300 and there's 900 cards in here. I mean, you might have a card in there that's worth $50, and then you might have a bunch that are worth less than a penny. Again, I don't know. So are we sure that what? Winning comment. I love it, and I'm so glad I was here for it. Oh, I see what you did there, Bob. That's funny. Yeah, didn't his girlfriend try and keep the game going for a little while too, and then she got in some trouble? The thief Blackleaf did not find the security camera, and I declare her dead because we're playing Cyberpunk and the security camera is attached to a gun turret. Oh, I love you guys. Oh, that's awesome. I started a YouTube channel, and the room I'm in is wallpapered with Magic the Gathering cards. It's nothing. Move along. I like that. So I've mentioned this before. I watch I watch a lot of car resto videos, and one of my new favorites is Pole Barn Garage. It's a guy out of the suburbs of Kansas City, basically, and his son is he's an adolescent. I don't think he's more than 10 or 11 years old. but they're building their first muscle, or they're building his first muscle car, and it's like a 56, 57 Ford. And the roof liner, of course, you got a car that's like 60, 70 years old. The roof liner is shot. It's non-existent. Their method of putting a roof liner in a car is so cool. They buy packs of playing cards at antique stores and shellac them into the inner roof, and it looks really cool. Hasbro stock, just saying, as a business, they must find a balance of their players and gold coins, or else. I got a lot I could say about the investments at Hasbro and so on. But one thing I can tell you, and I think everybody's aware of this, I'm not spilling some secret sauce. This is not some, sudden shocking revelation that's going to make you sit down and tremble, on the very edge of your ottoman or anything. When you got do you look at who holds stock, and people are like, well, we have a responsibility to our investors. Your investors, Hasbro, Disney, Universal, Microsoft, Apple, on and on and on and on. Your investor, singular, period, is Larry Fink, is BlackRock Capital. I don't care what sob stories some guy in a suit that costs more than my entire existence, every material thing I own, and what you could get on the Chinese black market for all of my internal organs. I don't care what he tells you. No. People out there living on a pension, trying to leave something for their kids? No, they're not. They're not. And they're the people, when they say we have a responsibility to our investors, it basically means that Larry Fink picks up the phone and says, do more of this, do less of this. So the idea of, we're gonna become activist investors, and we're gonna go and we're gonna make them change it. No, you're not. Hey man, my dad restoring 57 Chevy Bel Airs, had one in high school. Oh, that's wonderful, Orbital. That's wonderful. Some ottoman trembling. We'll talk later, Kabuki. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. That was an awful joke. I apologize. I'm of two minds about what's going to happen for the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. I would have thought that if Wizards of the Coast was really going to honor Dungeons and Dragons, they would have said something by now. September is right over there. September is right over there. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? That's the end of the year. All right. If you're going to have anything lined up for January, February, March, you've got to kick it off right over there in September. You've got to you've got to set things in motion. You've got to get things going. There is no alternative to it. You will do it now, or it will fail in the first quarter. You've got to start generating interest in it. Wizards of the Coast hyped the re-releases of first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons and the wooden OD&D box years in advance of them coming out. The anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons, the 50th anniversary, is in January. January was when they first started selling the sets. Honestly, I don't think they're going to do shit. I think they're going to release some things with 50th anniversary stamped on them. And that's it. I don't think we're going to see special boxes. I don't think we're going to see special sets. I don't think they're going to make a statement. They'll tweet something. But the reason I'm bringing that up, oh yeah, dirty hobbies in history. You're absolutely right. They won't celebrate that. But the reason I bring it up, is you look at like all the stuff they've done with like collectors releases and so on of Magic the Gathering, and so that's not happening for Dungeons and Dragons. I'm sorry, Gumby. I'm not trying to hurt you, my friend. They've already dropped the ball, Connect. If they weren't going to drop the ball, they would have announced at Gen Con. They announced nothing at Gen Con other than, here's how we're making the rules even less palatable. Here's how we're fucking things up even more. So, I mean, unless they have literally been working on a Lockheed Skunk Works level development to celebrate the 50th anniversary of D&D, like we have got NDAs on top of NDAs, and we've told people we'll be watching their social media accounts and maybe even monitoring their homes or whatever so that nothing is leaked about this super duper surprise we've got. It's not happening. It's not going to happen. Somebody had asked me, and I guess we'll kind of wrap up with this and a few other things, and then I'm going to go. My throat's hurting now. Somebody was asking me, do I use OGL or ORC or neither? Neither, really. I mean, I will say on a product that I intended to sell, this is compatible with Osric, and just kind of lean back under whatever coverage Osric gives me. And if that comes through the OGL, whatever. But I make my stuff for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition or original D&D. Now, if I do stuff like I did with Heidi and Eric, they put, if they want to publish stuff under ORC or under the OGL, that's, them Big Indian Chief, me Little Brave. That's all there is to it. Skunk Works, the place with all the aliens. Yes. And Bob Jester says, I'm not putting stock in the ORC either. Uncle of the Bailey lawyer, albeit a Canadian lawyer, says it won't protect contributors any more than WotC's OGL 2. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not putting my stuff in I'm just not. That if anyone here has ever watched The Lockpicking Lawyer and seen what he's done to hotel safes, yeah, I got the same mindset about the ORC. But anyway, that's going to about do it for me. I've got AD&D to get onto tonight. Tomorrow night. Oh, we didn't do the week ahead. Okay, so tomorrow night, first edition AD&D, Let's Play. We've got the group back. Foltz will be here. Hopefully Mark will be here, and his little halfling thief will be running around underfoot doing thiefly things. But, you know, real life takes precedent. This is not, you know, this is just a D&D game that you guys watch, right? It's not a, we're not, you know, it's not critical that anyone come and play their role. Let's say that. So that's Tuesday night. Now, Wednesday is normally when Kyle is here. Kyle has got a lot on his plate down there in the land down under. So Wednesday, I've lined up a guest. That's right. We're having a guest speaker Wednesday. Wednesday, Paul Stormberg will be here. And Paul, of course, has been at the tiller for the Gary Gygax bench, the Gary Gygax Appendix N reading area in the Lake Geneva Library. And I'm going to take Paul to task on some things too. That's going to be fun. Paul and I are going to get mad at each other. You guys are going to be going, Mom, Dad, don't fight. So Paul will be here Wednesday. Thursday, we'll have some open fun, you know. And then Friday, of course, we'll play Gamma World. And then Saturday and Sunday, I ain't doing anything. And then Monday, we'll just start the whole thing over again. But that's the rest of the week. And of course, I want to remind everybody that tonight's live stream was brought to you by our friends at Hellabard Games. Hellabard makes the kind of games that they like to play. Whether it's for Castles and Crusades 5th edition or the OSR, old school is in play when you play with Hellabard. And of course, you can check them out at DriveThruRPG or on their website, hellabardgames.com. And folks, if you haven't already, please do click the subscribe button, click the bell icon for notifications. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and tell me down below what you liked about it. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs down and tell me down below what you didn't like about it. And I'll do more or less of those things. So I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here and get a bite of dinner. So, of course, I want everybody to be good to each and every other. And, you know, as you go out there on your Monday evening, whether you're driving home, whether you're chilling at home already, regardless of what you're doing, keep your eyes open and let me know, have you seen my owl bear?
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around. Some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle, way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.